5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, hello everybody. It's Alex. It's the Ramble from the most infected city in the world. Yes, until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. Hi, how are you everybody? I'm Alex Bennett, and here I am again. Still avoiding so far. That's not on Formica. Okay, I don't know if that's Formica. It's something. I don't know. Some kind of. Anyway, still avoiding the pandemic. Boy, I feel like I'm tap dancing. Sidetracking it. And on top of that, this eye, I don't know if it looks swollen at all. But I've been having, I have allergies. And whenever the allergy season hits, man, this eye especially gets really puffy. And I was supposed to have this eye operated on because it has kind of a droop that then catches, you get what I'm saying? Catches the pollen, and it catches air and stuff and bacteria, and then it can get infected. So I was supposed to go have my eye done. But then this damn coronavirus hit, and I couldn't do it. So it's going to be a while. So I'm going to have to put up with this for a while. But this is just bothering me. It's not infected or anything like that. It hasn't turned red. Okay. So if you see me every now and then dabbing my eye with this, it's because I'm trying to keep it from itching. Okay. Yes, Alex, you tune into this program, and every day you find out another update on my illnesses. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, that's great. Got a little something for you coming up in a little bit, but first, I guess, have to go over and look at the world map, see where everybody's sick right now. Look at that. There it is, our nightly map. This, by the way, is courtesy of Johns Hopkins University, who made up this fine map, which you may have seen elsewhere beside my show on a lot of other programs and a lot of other radio and TV and things like that, So it's a lot of stuff out there a lot of things out there that use this, okay? All right? But anyway, there's the world, and we're up to 3,753,782 confirmed cases. Now, that is confirmed cases. That is not maybe all the cases in the world, okay? All right. That means that there have been, and if you see the map over here, I'll put up I should make a bigger arrow so that when I do this, you can see my arrow. See my arrow there? Okay. 263,785 deaths in the world, of which the U.S. has 73,418 of those. Let's go to the U.S., by the way. Well, first, let's look at the rest of this map. How many does Russia have here? Russia has, they say, confirmed 165,929 with 1,537 deaths. Do you believe that? I don't believe it, and neither do most people in the world. China over here, which this is like part of China. That's Hubei, China, and there's there's Beijing. Beijing, are you gonna believe this? I don't believe this number, okay? I mean, since the whole thing broke out in China, or they don't think anymore that it broke out in China, actually. That it showed up in China, first of all, but that it may have been around since last November, maybe earlier than that, and that the first cases may have been reported as other kinds of deaths, okay? But they say in Beijing they have 593 confirmed and 9 deaths. I just don't believe that number. I'm not going to believe that number. But you know, that's the way they are. Let me see here. We go around. Well, let's go to the U.S. here. Let's look at today's 1,228,214. That's a lie, too. We think the number is much higher than that, but those are total confirmed. There are a lot that I think we believe are not being reported yet, especially by a lot of the nursing homes. All right? Global deaths. Wait a minute. Why did we suddenly have global deaths showing up there? We don't want global deaths. We want. There we go. Well, in America, here we go. I don't know why it says global deaths there, but it's 73,431. Now, the president says, well, we may reach 100,000. That's a big difference from the estimate he gave us a couple of weeks ago, in which it's only going to be a couple of 100,000. Yeah. And before that, it was, this is nothing worse than the flu, than a cold, than a bad cold. Now he says it's going to be 100,000. And what he also did is he, if you remember yesterday, he disbanded the coronavirus task force. And today he said, well, we're going to continue with it because it's so popular. The only thing that's popular about his coronavirus task force are the daily briefings in which we saw Donald Trump make an absolute idiotic fool out of himself. And he tries to put a bright light on everything that he does. Oh, well, you know, I suddenly realized that I didn't expect that it was going to be that popular. So I'm bringing it back today. You know, he would like to get rid of Fauci as fast as possible. He doesn't want, but he's got to keep Fauci on his team because then he can keep him from going before the Congress. If he gets rid of him, then Fauci's free to go anywhere he wants to. Ta-da! Okay. Anyway, he doesn't want him speaking to Congress. It's okay if he speaks to the Senate because they're Republicans. All right. Anyway, we've got, and we have the deaths in New York here. Well, wait a minute. The recovered in New York are 54,597. The deaths are 25,000. This number doesn't look right. Oh, this is New York State, I think, is 25,623. It just doesn't seem right for some strange reason. The number seems to, I've seen it lower than that, but this map is kind of getting a little wonky lately. Number 2 is Spain. They've got they've got 3,755,341 confirmed, with 263,795 deaths, I guess, in Spain. No. See, here we go. They've changed this map on me. See, that doesn't work there. The deaths in Spain are 25,857. Then we go to Italy, okay, and I got to go here. See, you got to do that, and then I got to do. Oh, here we go. They say there are. See, that's something very wrong with this map today. Oh well. Pay no attention to the map, folks. But I do know that the U.S. Has 73,418 deaths. Okay, all right. Okay, is that all right? Is that enough? All right. Enough of the map. For some reason, the map isn't looking like it once did, and it's got problems. But we'll worry about that later. Let me see here. Let me get a few things here in order. I have to, because I do this whole thing myself, right? So anyway, our president has yesterday disbanded his team, right? His Corona task force, and today it's back on again because it was so popular. No, because so many people said, why are you doing away with that? This man vacillates from day to day on everything. And that's why the American public doesn't feel that the rudder of the boat is in the right hands, okay, that he's not steering the ship very well. In fact, he's doing a terrible job of it. In fact, if you want to say that we've got something like 75,000 deaths or 73,000 deaths, I would blame it on Trump, okay, because he didn't take decisive action. Now, the interesting thing is that they feel that the coronavirus did not start in China, that it started somewhere in Europe, and that it came over here long before the Chinese virus came over here, and that some people may have died of it, but now they're going back and looking at the deaths like around November to see if any of them look suspiciously like they have the hallmarks of being the coronavirus. So anyway, hey, listen, I got something for you here. I've been telling a story for years, and a lot of people kind of, yeah, sure, Alex, sure. Yeah, we believe that, you know. Let me tell you the story. I was working at KMEL in San Francisco. That's where I first went when I first went to San Francisco. I was there for about, I think, almost 2 years. And in 1981, in August of 1981, or maybe just a few days, about a couple of weeks before August, so that would be July, my boss, who was Rick Lee at the time, general manager of the radio station, said, hey, you want to drive down with me to San Jose? And I said, why? He says, they're having this big kind of like coming out party for this thing. And I said, what is it? They said, something called MTV. It seemed as though the only place in the Bay Area where MTV was going to be playing was in the South Bay, so they decided to hold a party down there and to debut MTV for the press and so on. So I said, sure, you know, I'm always up for a free hors d'oeuvre. So we drive down there, and I had heard about this MTV. And I'm standing there, and they say, okay, now we're going to play the MTV promo reel. It was kind of like a demo reel. Hey, here's you. MTV, it's music television. Here's who our people are, Mark Goodman, and I can't remember all the different people they had there at the time. And so they were going to play, they played that. And so they put it on. And we're all standing there watching it. And then all of a sudden, Mark Goodman says, and here with MTV Report is Alex Bennett. And everybody in the room turns around and stares at me and goes, you're with MTV? I said, I guess I am now. Turns out that a couple of weeks earlier, I had gone into a place called Video West in San Francisco. They had called me in and said, would you like to audition for something that we're going to do, some pieces we're going to do for this new thing called MTV? And I said, yeah, sure, I'm happy to do it. So I went in, I read the script, and then they said, well, listen, we'll be in touch. Okay, well, I didn't get it. You know, when they say that you're going to be in touch, you know, that's not going to happen. But here I am sitting there, and there's the audition that I did, and I am on the promo reel for MTV. Well, after the fact, I was told by Video West, yeah, they picked us up to do these news reports, and you're one of them. We're going to make you the L.A. reporter. We did all these things out of San Francisco, but I was the L.A. reporter, okay? And I said, fine, cool. You know, I'd rather be the New York reporter, but L.A. reporter is fine. And then I would just simply go in every week and announce these things and so on. Well, you know, when I tell this story to people, they always kind of give me the, yeah, Alex, yeah, another one of your wonderful accomplishments in life. Yeah, sure, you were with MTV. And nobody believes me, because here's the reason why. For the first year that MTV was on, they weren't on in San Francisco. They were only on in San Jose. It wasn't until the second year of MTV that they started getting clearance on San Francisco cable systems. And at the end of a year, MTV stopped using Video West to produce these little snippets for them and started their own MTV News department, which I think, if I remember correctly, the reporter on that was Matt Lauer. But in any event, nobody ever believed that I was there when MTV first started. Until now. A guy by the name, I'm trying to remember his name now because he sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. I want to give him credit if I can. It would be very nice if I did. Hold on a second. Let me see. His name is. I don't have his name here. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I think I do. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. It's Sean Carolyn. And he sent me a thing, and he said he had a thing on my Facebook page that simply said, at a minute and 38 seconds into MTV's history, the first on-screen mention of Alex Bennett. So I wrote him, and I said, where'd you find it? And he told me where to go, and there was a reel available of the first 4 hours of MTV. The first 4 hours ever. I mean, they signed on. They played, do you know what the first song was? Yeah. Video Killed the Radio Star, which I always consider was my theme song because I had been in radio and then I went to Midnight Blue in New York, and I was always singing this song, Video Killed the Radio Star. But anyway, and then they went into some more music, and then they had a few other things, and finally, at about a minute and 38 seconds, an hour and 38 seconds into the first day of MTV, which was, I believe, August 1st, if I'm not mistaken, August 1st, 1981. Or maybe it was August 8th. I'm trying to remember now. Wait a minute. I can also find that out for you. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Because I've got the file here, and it's got the date on it. It was Saturday, August 1st, 1981. That was when MTV first went on the air, and hour and 38 seconds. 38 minutes. Can I try this again? An hour and 38 minutes into it. Here is what I found.
Rock memorabilia sells for high prices these days. You might not know that a copy of My Bonnie by the Beatles is worth $800, or that the original album cover for Yesterday and Today, the Butcher Block cover by the Beatles, goes for $500. Now, it's not just Lennon-McCartney hits that are collector's items either. We have Alex Bennett to fill us in on valuable rock and roll. Alex.
Now, the problem here is that we don't have any. We don't actually have the music. Well, we just have the music. We don't have my audio. I was trying to figure out why, and I was going back and forth with this guy who I got this from. And what happened is usually in those days you recorded things on 3/4-inch cassettes. And then maybe you'd put the music track, right, on one of the two tracks. So you wouldn't use the full stereo. And on the other track, you'd put the narration. Apparently, there were a lot of fuck-ups on that first day of MTV, okay? And in screwing up, they only played one channel. If they played the other channel, I guess I could legitimately say I was on MTV the first day they went on the air. But unfortunately, that's not the case, okay? So... But nevertheless, history will remember this.
Rock memorabilia sells for high prices these days. You might not know that a copy of My Bonnie by the Beatles is worth $800, or that the original album cover for Yesterday and Today, the Butcher Block cover by the Beatles, goes for $500. Now, it's not just Lennon-McCartney hits that are collector's items either. We have Alex Bennett to fill us in on valuable rock and roll. Alex.
Yeah, so that was my. And I did it for a year. I wasn't the only one. There were, I think, 4 of us, and they alternated us. And I I never got to see them play because in that first year I was living in San Francisco, and the cable systems in San Francisco did not carry it. Okay, so anyway, that's a little bit of memorabilia from the Bennett file. Okay, let me see here. Let me turn on the Skype here. But I thought you'd be interested in that. And as I say, everybody looked at me and went, "You're on MTV?" And I went, "No, I don't know. I guess I think my line back to them was, I guess I am now." Okay, and sure enough, I was. I think I got paid $35 a report. Oh well, So here comes Brian Neary. He's always the first one out of the box here. Let me see here, and then I can just
number one. Number one.
Number one. You got your spot again. There you go. You got your spot. Okay. Anyway, so how about that? See, I was on the first hour and 38 minutes of MTV ever.
I was in junior high school.
You were in junior high school. Oh boy.
Sorry.
That's okay. Did you listen to me back in those days at all?
No, Live 105. Live 105 for sure.
Really? Live 105
every single morning. And I told you this before. I know you're probably trying to get people on, but I told you this before. I used to work for Ansel Adams' daughter, and Ansel Adams' granddaughter and I listened, and we had it blaring in the warehouse. Yeah. Where all his photographs and everything were. So
yeah. So but you listened to me on Live 105.
Yep.
So that was so you did listen to me in San Francisco.
Yes.
Oh, there's Charlie Wallace. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, Charlie, where are you, Charlie? Are you there, Charlie? Charlie, turn on your camera.
I'm trying.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, and then I got to go over here, and I got to put Phil Meyer in, and we got Phil Meyer in his spot where he was last night. So anyway, that was my great claim to fame of being on MTV. The first day they went on the air, and I
didn't hear a thing.
Huh?
I didn't hear a thing. Some guy with foo hair was talking about some guy, Alex Bennett. He could have been talking about the Butcher, Yeah. And what did I hear? I didn't hear Alex Bennett.
Oh, you didn't hear Alex Bennett?
Did they show you on the video?
Wait a minute.
Did they show you on that video at all?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Now listen closely, Phil.
Yeah.
Rock memorabilia sells for high prices these days. You might not know that a copy of My Bonnie by the Beatles is worth $800, or that the original album cover for Yesterday and Today, the Butcher Block cover by the Beatles, goes for $500. Now, it's not just Lennon-McCartney hits that are collector's items either. We have Alex Bennett to fill us in on valuable rock and roll. Alex.
Okay. Alex.
That was the Herman the Butcher. He calls himself Alex Bennett.
Oh,
I didn't hear you on that thing. I think
he explained that. He was in the other track that didn't get played.
Well, what I'm so thrilled about is that for years I have never had any proof I could show somebody that I actually did these things for MTV.
And you still don't.
And I didn't realize I was actually on the first day because I never saw that until now. So.
But did they show you on the video at all?
No, it was my voice. But they were, according to the guy, he says if you watch the first 4 hours, they're fucking up like crazy. They're running Mark Goodman introducing something and then something else plays. They had first day jitters. And part of that first day jitters is that I was on a second audio track, which they were supposed to play both of them, but they didn't play mine. So,
hey, was that your hand flipping the albums?
No, I wasn't anywhere in there. They would go out and shoot these things, and then I would just come in and narrate them. But I was the reporter, and so there were four of us. Are you having trouble today, Rob? Yeah. What, you're not able to get your audio out?
No audio.
Can't hear you.
No audio. He can't figure it out.
He's got to flip the button.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Gee, you're a regular Jeff.
All right.
Need some wine.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I used to be a big shot. Like I always said, I used to be a big shot.
Now, you were in 81. You were
Wait a minute. We can hear something clicking there, Rob.
Jeff.
No, it's not Jeff.
Oh, it's not shit.
Yeah.
Not I.
We hear you clicking a little bit there, Rob. See?
Nice oblique.
He's having technical problems. Yeah. Oh boy.
Nope.
Nope. No sound.
No,
You
son.
put lime in the coconut.
Well,
No sound.
I know what he's going through because every now and then, all of a sudden I try to figure out what wire came undone.
And it only happens when you're getting on.
Yeah. Well, no, I really haven't had any audio problems, to tell you the damn truth. Video, yeah, but not audio. Trouble with YouTube and configuring YouTube, yeah, because sometimes it'll do something and it will change my my stream key, and then I've got to change the key and sometimes it's right after I go on the air, I suddenly notice it isn't running, and so I have to change the key and stuff. That happened to me the other night. So
Yeah, same thing happens with my stream.
you don't have one anymore. No,
I got a better one now than I used to.
listen, I've been going through that, with the thing. I hope I can go the hour and a half of this show without having to go during the hour and a half of the show. So, anyway, so where was I? Let me see here. Ooh, how many people do we have now? Oh, a lot of people listening. Got a lot of people lately listening to the show.
They got nothing to do.
Captive audience.
Wait till you guys are out. There's going to be just you and I, Alex, and Phil.
You know what our governor said today, and I wasn't able to figure out at all, that he made the statement that the something like 78% of the people who go to the hospital had basically stayed at home. And they don't know how to parse that. They don't know how to figure that one out. That every day we come up with another mysterious piece of information we never knew before. Like now we're suddenly finding out, no, this didn't come from China. It came from Europe. And that it may have been here as early as last November, and we don't have any reports of it because we weren't looking for it.
Remember, Bree kept saying he was sick like in December.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he doesn't know if he had COVID.
He thinks he just had the flu.
Huh?
He thinks.
Well, he never calls this show anymore anyway, so I couldn't ask him. But
when he was on that bus, he didn't feel good, but he didn't have the symptoms of corona. His chest wasn't hurting.
This was before
Some
that.
people
Though.
don't.
Yeah, that was before that. And of course, as you all know, our president is totally immune from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he doesn't wear any protective gear.
He wears
it.
Huh?
He
wears.
Just didn't see.
Well, he says. I don't know if this is a quote, but I assume it's a quote. That he doesn't need to because he wears a condom.
Check.
So there you go.
He's got audio. What was it, Rob?
What was it, Rob?
So I've been back there behind everything, you know, with all the crap.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm talking and I'm seeing the microphone processor lights going and I'm like, okay, so the mic's working. I was behind here today doing I'm still setting this whole thing up, and one of the 1/4-inch phono jacks was just out of the processor in the back, the mic processor.
You were behind,
and that's what caused it.
That's what
you
caused
were behind there.
Now can I go back to my very funny joke about Donald Trump? that he said he didn't have to wear a mask yesterday because he wears a condom. Anyway,
he said
He's-
cameras just didn't get him. He said he was wearing a mask, but you may not have seen him wear a mask.
Did he say
He
that?
said he had a Honeywell mask, a 3M mask, and he had about 4 others, he said. And you just didn't see me wear it. That's all.
He has a stealth mask.
Really? Did he say that? Really?
That's what he said. Yep. He said you just didn't see me wear it. And then they're talking like
He didn't
cameras
say
were on
that.
him nonstop.
Boy.
Yeah, maybe he has one of those masks that has the photo of the bottom of his face.
I had one with a skeleton looking.
Maybe that isn't his face and it's a mask.
You're making fun of our president.
What?
Blasphemy.
Yeah, we're making fun of our president.
Blasphemous.
Yes.
Blast for you, blast for me. Yeah. Oh, boy. I give up. You know, there are about how many did I say in America right now are dead?
70,000 something.
73,000. Yeah. And I think some of that has to be put on the backs of the president, because the buck should stop there. And he was denying the whole thing for so long. You know, yes, Charlie.
Tony Magno posted something today that said that on March 15th, South Korea and the United States had exactly the same number of deaths. Since then, South Korea's had 85 deaths, and the United States has had 63,000. Now 70-something thousand.
You know why? Because the age, the population age of South Korea is so much younger than the population age.
That's our excuse.
Nope, that's not
Is that the
No.
excuse for the great disparity?
No.
Is that the excuse for the?
They're the
What
most.
they did is they tested everybody. They tested every fucking person that turned out positive. They went back and traced everybody they had contact with, and they quarantined all of them so the virus stopped spreading.
Brian's agreeing.
We
You're
could
not
have done that.
Brian.
No, we couldn't because people wouldn't deal with the quarantine. They have rights.
I just heard that.
No, you don't have rights. If you have typhus, you can't say I'm not going to quarantine.
Yeah, they took very strict measures, I heard. That's
They
very strict
tested
measures.
everybody. Trump wasted 6 weeks without even. We could have built up our whole testing supply so we could have been ready for it, but he didn't do shit. Yeah, all 70,000 of those are on Trump.
Well, you know, I mean, what are we going to do about it now? You know, but this is what happens when you have somebody who doesn't know how to be presidential. Oh, you're going to walk out, chicken.
I mean, that's a fact. South Korea has only had like 180 deaths.
Yeah, there's a great disparity between that and having an age difference. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That age difference stuff is crap.
Yeah. I should be the one walking out because he believes all this stuff. You know, when Trump says, "Oh, you know, I didn't realize how popular my coronavirus team was." It was very popular because we loved seeing him make a fool of himself every day. It was the greatest. In the morning, you got a good, serious recitation of the problem, and in the evening, you got a comedy show. You know, I miss it greatly. I wish they would bring it back, Fauci and all.
They had the ambassador Susan Rice on just before the show started on Don Lemon. Talking about the whole pandemic playbook and how detailed they went, just like Bush did to them, Obama's group did to Trump's group, and went through all the detail of the book, how the stockpiles, they said 2016, they took an inventory and all the stockpiles were full, and then they just showed the process of everything falling out.
Really?
Yeah. It was on Don Lemon too.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, he killed that whole team that was built up, and that whole playbook was thrown out the window. You know,
and she said, she just said that that book was full of questions. You know, so right when if something happens here, these are the questions to start asking to make sure that the stockpiles are full, make sure the testing is started, and then she also referred to, he referred to the Obama administration of not having good tests. He said they left him with that. And, she's like, well, how can you have a test for something that's not gone through yet? No coronavirus. You can come up with a coronavirus test. So he just keeps blaming the Obama, administration for all this
Well,
stuff.
you can't come up with a coronavirus test when there's no coronavirus.
Exactly.
I mean, we did. In
also.
fact, we do have coronavirus vaccines, but they were for all the other coronaviruses. Am I correct, Brian?
Yeah.
That the average flu that came out every year, some of them were coronaviruses.
I heard on the radio this morning that they're hopeful that we might have a vaccine by the fall because of it's how did he say it? He said that the base of the vaccine is what is used for the flu, and so that will sail right through. And now they're testing. They've got a vaccine that they believe is going to by the fall we could have a vaccine, and it's one of what the federal government has decided to go ahead and start manufacturing, so that once it's approved, there'll be millions of doses out there. So that could be by September, we do have a vaccine.
And I believe that because, like, for us, when we were trying to find the targets for our testing, the same thing. We already had the basis of the flu. So when we went to FDA, of course, we already had the accelerated time because of the emergency, but we already had such a big head start because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that'd be good.
Yeah, very good.
That'd be very good. Let me see here. Bree's calling. He hasn't called in quite a while. We haven't heard from Bree.
I'd like to just comment on the YouTube channel now.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Where are you? You're not. Have you got a picture at all?
Yeah, I see him.
Okay, hold on a second. I gotta find him. Hold on a second. Because I have a pull down list. There we go. There he is. You have something about we're talking about the virus, and you want to talk about the MTV clip?
Ooh, what?
What'd you say?
I think you want to talk about your YouTube channel.
Oh, my YouTube
yeah,
channel.
I'm watching the show on YouTube, and I comment in the comment channel,
the
chat room.
Yeah.
So that's what I do lately.
Oh, why?
Because I can, this is my prime time, like when I get work done and I'm getting ready for, having my lunch. And so it's hard for me to, because most of my day I spend in front of a screen looking and talking to people. So when I can actually do other things, I try to do that, It was fun at first, but now, no. I get calls from all over the world can you be a guest speaker for this? Can you come in there? Or we need you for that. Or we got a meeting for this. We have a webinar we'd like you to attend. So it's like I could literally do something from when I wake up to when I go to bed online all day, every day. But today is a holiday here, so I have a little bit of a break.
What's the holiday?
It's VSEC Day.
And what?
Vasectomy Day?
Vasectomy Day? Yeah, right. What's VSEC Day?
Well, it's all I remember from it was that when I lived in Singapore, they told us not to go to the pet store and buy pets and free them. So, people would go and buy turtles and then free them in the ponds. Mm-hmm. It's a Buddhist day, and it's commemorates the birth, enlightenment, and death of Buddha.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's like Buddha's birthday, I guess.
Oh, okay. That was nice.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Buddha.
Buddha bless.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what's your take on what's going on over here? Are we nuts or what?
First of all, question for the group.
Mm-hmm.
Have humans ever developed a vaccine for a coronavirus? Yes or no?
Yes.
A successful vaccine for a coronavirus?
Yes.
When, where, how?
I don't know, but I think that one of the vaccines we got this fall was for a coronavirus. There've been like many of them before this.
We've never had, Google it. We've never had a successful vaccine for a coronavirus. We don't know how to do that as humans.
Was SARS a coronavirus?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do not have a successful. We just don't have that technology. We don't have that science. We don't have that medicine.
Okay.
We can develop therapeutics and treatments, but we do not have a vaccine. Even the vaccines that we have, for example, that have been somewhat successful, are for different viruses. For like the influenza virus, we have a vaccine for it, but that vaccine changes every year, and it's not effective in all people. So to somehow think that over many, many years, we've been dealing with lesser, viruses, and that somehow all of a sudden now we're going to create a vaccine, I think is magical thinking. There's no scientific medical basis for that prognostication.
Well, Brian,
there's a lot of stockholders and money and economics and nice thinking, so maybe that's what they're going for. But we've never successfully developed a vaccine for a coronavirus in history, and so now suddenly we're going to do it in 3 months.
Brian Neary, this is your.
I think that's one of the things, Bree, just like you're saying, is people start confusing treatment with the vaccines, right? Like HIV, right? They have treatments, but they don't have a vaccine. They haven't had that, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Brian, do you have more light you can turn on in that room?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because you pretty soon we're going to just be seeing teeth. Brian, is that pretty much so that we've never developed a vaccine for a coronavirus?
Yeah, I would say the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as I know, I would say yes. I would say Bree's correct.
Yeah.
Because like I said, people start confusing the treatments with the vaccines.
Right.
I'll put the link in the YouTube chat.
Now,
so
we'll probably have a treatment before we have a vaccine.
That's right. And it's so funny because I read like Gilead finds remdesivir, that promising hope, and then their stock goes up. It's like that was used 3 months ago in Thailand, and we already knew the results. So like it's amazing how the news will.
What were the results?
New. It's hopeful. We can do. Now we've been trying everything. Doctors around the world have been trying everything that they have, at this. So it's all a matter of marshaling your public relations value, which is exactly what we have in the White House. It's public relations. Yeah. In case you didn't know, the federal government it's a success story. It's been absolutely perfect. The way they've responded to everything, perfect. And that's true. It's true because they said it. So we believe it. So, and I'm parroting it now because
Bree, Phil has a question for you.
Yeah, I had to walk away, but did anybody ask Bree if he was Corona Boy and spread the coronavirus when he was on that bus? Or what, was it just a simple influenza or a walking pneumonia or something? When
I
you
have no idea.
Do you think you had the coronavirus?
I don't know. I have no. It's possible. It's certainly possible. I was definitely ill. Some of the symptoms I could say yes, but others I would say no. So I just don't know for sure.
How long did it last?
However, those around me and near me never got sick, including 2 elderly in-laws who lived with me for 3 months.
So probably that isn't what that probably was
from China.
Yeah.
And they never got sick.
You didn't have it.
Well, it's possible because I'm kind of like young Sheldon. I'm a germaphobe in a way. So I use, for example, when we went on vacation, I had my own room and my own bathroom. So I never mixed with them. And we always went out to eat, or they would bring stuff back to me if I couldn't go out. So I pretty much keep my distance, and I always have hand sanitizer on me. I have the world's largest collection of hand sanitizer I can show you. And I just always travel with that. And when I go on a plane, I take Clorox wipes and I wipe down my entire area before I sit down. The the rails, the seat buckle, the trays. I do a much better job than the cleaning crew, because they miss a lot of things. And so I can show it to you now. I have a travel kit with Clorox wipes, gloves, masks.
They let you on the plane with that stuff?
I go on every single plane I've ever flown on. I Clorox wipe down the entire area.
Now, are you
that plane that you were taking out of Dubai? I thought was like first class. The best you could get.
Well, Emirates automatically tests for COVID-19. They have a 10-minute, 15-minute test. So if you fly Emirates, you get an immediate test before you fly. They did it on the first flight, was I think April 15th to Tunisia. I wish we're still in Dubai. They're doing a great job. But,
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's we're up Schitt's Creek. There's no answer for this. I can't hardly wait, but we're going to see the incidences in the rest of the country on the rise. In fact, we already have. If you compare New York's trajectory, which went up, plateaued, and then started coming down. As it's coming down, the rest of the country is going up. So what's our president doing about that, Phil? I'll let you answer it. Huh?
We're number one. And, hey, do you hear those dogs barking in Bree's, off Bree's mic? Can you hear those dogs, Bree?
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible dog.
No more sound effects or I'm hanging up on you.
Yeah, but it's Bree's dogs.
Oh, boy.
Where do you see Texas in 2 weeks?
You think it's going to go get bad, huh?
Yeah, the cases were already on the rise May 1st. The last 3 or 4 days have been the highest incidents of new cases, and there's no way they've been able to see what's happening from opening up everything on May 1st. It takes 2 weeks before all that stuff hits.
Is somebody behind that door that's opening? There's a door behind you, and it's just
well,
opening.
You're distracting us by asking that question.
No, I'm looking at the door behind Charlie, poltergeist or something.
That's just the bathroom. It's just open.
Oh, it's not a home invasion.
No, that's they wouldn't come in from that way anyway. I got my Dallas Cowboy sign there that protects me.
Well, maybe they had a pee.
Anyway, so where's this all going? I mean, what bothers me is the president and the administration and a lot of these governors who want to see the economy going at the risk of people's lives.
Yep.
And that's the problem with living in a capitalistic society, that they look upon this as being a very important, that we get everybody back to work because God forbid,
I've had people call me today, other stores, and they said, "Are you open?" And I said, "No." It was supposed to be the 31st that Newsom put the lockdown. And I said, I'm doing installations, but I'm not open to the public except by appointment. And so these other stores, and ones like mine and others that I know, they're open. They've changed their website. They're saying, "Hey, we're open for business," and they're like going full steam ahead.
Well,
I called another store in Marin, and she said, "No, we're not going to open until they lift the thing."
Well,
and
you're being responsible.
Yeah. Well, I'm staying closed when you're supposed to stay closed, and I'll open when you're supposed to open.
Well, what was this thing about them thinking that it was okay to open up because it was okay by Newsom?
They relaxed some things for construction, but that didn't give people the right to open up retail stores. I mean, if you go to a florist, you got to pick the flowers up on the curb, and it's curbside handoff. What are people coming into a floor covering store browsing around? I said, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And plus, if they got sick or they said they got sick, they could sue me. So, I figured, I'll just keep doing it the way I'm doing it. My website says I'm open by appointment,
Yeah.
Well, Trump wants to make it so you can't sue anybody for getting sick.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be
because once people return to work, you don't want to put that liability on.
Can we sue
Well, they're
him?
making people go back to work, but then they want to make it so if they get sick and die, you can't sue.
You're not making anybody go back to work. You have a choice.
Oh no.
I have a choice.
Well,
yeah, starve because they won't put you. You can't go on unemployment.
in Texas, you can be fired for not coming into work. Am I right, Charlie?
And I can pay.
That's right in Texas.
I can pay people to sit at home, and I do. So with the PEAP plan, instead of them taking unemployment from the state, I got federal funds to pay rent, a portion of it, and to pay salaries, the average salary they were making before. And then once the thing is lifted, they could come back, and anything I pay them is forgiven from that loan.
Well, let me ask you, Rob, your company, what are they doing about all of this? I mean, obviously, in some states, I suppose they could open up and send their people back to
today,
work.
in fact. Yeah. They said that they are going to open up when they are ready, and then it's going to be you have the choice in phase one. You have the choice to stay home if you aren't comfortable coming back to the office. But they're also retooling all the offices, so the desks will be 6 feet apart. They're going to have only going to allow in the first phase. They're only going to allow, I think, a third or less of the capacity of the building to go in. All the cafeterias, all that stuff's going to be closed. So, they're being very conservative, and they said, look, we don't want anybody to come back until you're ready to come back.
Right.
So
until
work from home until you're ready.
Until you feel it's safe.
This company feeds its people. How does that work with the cafeteria? Or do they give them brown boxes or lunch bags?
And also, some of the bigger locations have the old-fashioned, like in our Dallas office, I used to work for they closed it when we sold off that business, but that huge office there, they had a tremendous cafeteria. You can get anything you wanted to eat, hot or cold. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I used to go to events at Adobe in downtown San Francisco, and they had a big cafeteria there that we were allowed to go get drinks and stuff from their thing while the event was going on. But yeah, it was very nice. Adobe's off Townsend Street, in Alex's old stomping grounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, and Brian, what are you doing about your organization?
It's funny because we have this one. We have a couple big areas in Building 1.
By the way, just for people who haven't heard you on the program before or been listening but haven't heard what you do, what is it exactly your company does?
So we do detection. So we detect stuff like we do TB for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for Africa, and then we do everything from regular flu to MRSA to C. diff, all these other different diseases. We have HIV, HPV, and HVC over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just getting into that market here. And so we do all detection.
Okay, so you create the devices for detection?
Yeah, the owners. So we've been around for about 22 years. I've been there 16 years, and the people who started the company, they actually built the instrument, and they came up with this cartridge that has all these chambers inside, and you take the sample, like for COVID, up the nose, and they break it off into here, and all we do is all the person that's running the test is. They just close it and they put it right into the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
The instrument runs the test, about 45-minute test, and then they'll be able to tell if the DNA is multiplied millions of times inside this small chamber.
Wow.
So it's all detection.
Wow.
And your chamber has the reagent in it, where people have to buy the reagent from China.
Yeah. Different assays for this are different, but for flu, the reagents are all inside, so all onboard reagents. So we have dried reagents, and then we have the wet reagents. So it does all the mixing and everything in here. It's pretty amazing how.
Now, let me ask Bree. You said that in your part of the world they did try remdesivir, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what were the results?
Mixed.
What do you mean mixed in what respect?
It helped some people, didn't help others. They didn't release a scientific based study. They were just, you see, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but did you ever watch MASH?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The television show. So sometimes in the series, you would see the doctors and they would say, well, we're going to try this. And then people would look around like, we've never tried that before. Like, wow, how dare you do that? And they did it because they were on the front lines and that's what they had available to them, and people would die if they didn't. So you see this happening. The physician's creed still holds: do no harm. But if you have a bunch of people dying, and you're pretty sure that they're going to die, and you have a treatment that you've used for other similarly what you see, mm-hmm. they're probably going to ask the family, can we go ahead and do this? But that's different from lining up 30 people and saying, you're going to be our control group, and these 30 people, you're going to be, the one to receive the treatment. That's different. So we have anecdotal evidence all over the place. The reason why you see it reported, though, from a place like Gilead is because they're a big company, they have lots of money, they can do these trials, they have a public relations firm. So you're hearing it in the news as if it's something new because they've marshaled all the resources. That's what they do. It's kind of like,
okay, but let me ask you this though, Bree. Gilead has said that if their thing works, they're planning on giving away most of the dosages for free. So how is it in their best financial interests to come up with the solution?
Then you have to understand management theory and you basically want to build value for the company. So if you believe that developing a vaccine and handing it out for free benefits your long-term stability as a company, you will do it. It's like me, opening up a pizza store and giving away, free pizzas the first week, mm-hmm. And feeding the frontliners or something like that. I may lose short-term, but in the long term, I'm gonna bring value to my company, and I'm gonna rise above the others, so to speak. So it all has a value.
Yeah.
They can't be. I mean, they can be altruistic to a point, but not beyond that.
Right.
I have to tell you something. Like, we all know, Kelly Clarkson is a great singer, and Mariah Carey. But I have to tell you, in my time, I've met people.
Is she a great singer?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I've met people who I believe are better singers. But the reason why Kelly Clarkson is because she was on a show. She rose up through the competition. She has a publicist. She works with a record company. Okay, so this is the difference. I'm trying to, build analogies between why you hear one thing, but we already know in this part of the world that people have been trying. If you look up in the Philippines, they've also been experimenting, with different drug combinations, and and in Thailand, and so we hear it all the time here. So when I read that,
do you think we as a
like,
nation are too egotistical to accept the findings of another country?
Yeah, could be.
Because right now over at Oxford, they think they have a vaccine, and we're just not making a big deal out of it, So I mean.
Well, remember, there was some guy in California who was on Fox News all the time, and he said that their lab had a vaccine, or some treatment. I don't know. I read all of this, and I was so hopeful for many weeks, and then I just started to Google, and I would notice in some of the reports that they would mention little things, and then I started looking it up, and I typed in, I was like, has there ever been a successful vaccine for a coronavirus? And I got from Yale, NHS, an Australian news, and the multitude said, no, we've never developed it. And even if you do, it can't apply to everyone, and it can change annually, and there's just so many variables that, and then there's also, the issues of how they're testing it, and who, whether they say it works on monkeys, so I don't know. And then there's an issue.
Well, they say they have
used
they have tried it on human beings, and it has worked in some cases. In other cases, it doesn't. And what they have to do is to find out why it works in some cases and it doesn't work in others. And in order to have a positive result, I think you have to have more than just anecdotal information.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, in Japan and Thailand, they're also using lopinavir and ritonavir.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're just all doing this. And I've also read that the coronavirus is unique in that it can infect different parts of the body. Like sometimes it's respiratory, and apparently doctors consider the lungs to be a very difficult area to deliver medications, and they almost consider it as an external rather than internal. But then I've read that coronavirus can infect the heart and get into the brain.
Well, what's happening here, what we found out is that in 30 to 40-year-olds, even down in the late 20s, they're getting strokes as a result of corona. And now they're finding that children are getting, what is it? They're getting, it's not a stroke, it's something else. But it is affecting children now. They're getting a thing that's a rash all over their body, and it was known as something else at one point, but it does cause that. So and then they're finding that the strain in in California is not the same strain that's in New York. That we have a different strain.
They have S and L strain. It's just amazing. It's amazing how little we know after so long, and all of these places are doing all this research, and yet we don't have sort of one way to deliver information that people can trust. And it's like Rashomon media, all the stories and what I read. That usually, and this is something that I've done for 30 years. I look at patterns in the way that media cover things, and I've looked at countries, people, events, and I'm telling you, I'm confounded by COVID-19 and coronavirus in terms of the amount of information.
You know what I'm confounded by right now? What Phil's looking at on his iPhone.
Same thing that Rob is looking at, but I'm trying to hold back my unbelievable humor and not make any jokes. So
and Rob, what are you looking at?
I'm playing backgammon.
Well, I think we probably should close it. I think we should
use the doubling cube.
Yes.
Well, maybe we should just close the show down tonight. Is it that boring? Yes,
no,
Brian.
It relaxes me.
To make it more boring. So, Bree, I have a question for you. So I used to watch this program religiously every day, but before I start calling in. But I had a question. So our company's called Cepheid, and I remember one time you had mentioned that, and you said you were looking for the stock before CPHD. You said you were looking for the stock and it was not available anymore. How did you find out about our company?
How did I what?
Find out about our company.
You said it.
Because I read. I read voraciously.
Mm-hmm.
All media throughout the world all the time. So I can tell you, bits and pieces of information. Whenever I travel somewhere, I usually find that there's a local newspaper, and they usually have an online. And some of them have radio stations, and some even, depending on how many tourists go there, they have English language radio stations. So I listen to them all the time. I find it fascinating, because if you just pay attention to sort of national or international news, it's always the same thing. I mean, if you watch CNN, it's like the same 3 stories over and over, and even local news, they'll tend to do it. But if you build a big sort of library of access to different media outlets, you can get these little bits and pieces of information. So that one probably came my way through one of these channels.
You want to know something that's gotten to me about the news services? I watch Cuomo every day because I find his little dissertations to be educational. I find them to be invigorating in some ways, in that he doesn't make you feel good. He just makes you feel as though you can do something about it, right? And one day this week, his speech was about, again, it's something he always likes to talk about he's sick and tired of this being a blue state thing and a red state thing because it's not political. We're talking about human lives here, and we should not make it political. That our political differences should be put aside, and we should do anything it takes to solve this problem and to end human suffering. And then I watched the rest of the day on MSNBC, and guess what they're doing to the coronavirus situation? Making it political. You know, what's CNN doing? Ratings. What's Fox doing? What's Newsmax doing? What's America One, which Trump is buying? What are they doing? They're all being political about this. Nobody's learned the lesson that this is about human lives. This isn't about whether you're red or you're blue or you're left or you're right or male or female or anything like that. Yes, Charlie.
Speaking of that, it seems like the same people who were getting so mad at Colin Kaepernick about the Black Lives Matter and kneeling at the football games are the same people that are saying everybody should go back to work, and so what if some people die? They forgot about how all lives matter.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so I don't understand it totally. I mean, I don't understand how you can be taught a lesson by somebody who politically you agree with, and then turn around and go back to your regularly scheduled programming and be so biased about this that it isn't a he said, she said, you're right, I'm left. I mean, these are human lives. There are people dying in this process. And I'll tell you who's being extremely political is Trump. And who's being extremely political are probably a lot of the Democrats. But we need our president to be less political in this situation than any other single human being in the scenario because he's the leader of the country.
And yet he's the most political.
Yeah. And you often get the feeling that his decisions are based upon his political future. You know, so he wants everybody back to work so they can't hold the economy against him. But the fact is that if he gets everybody to work and everybody gets sick, the economy's going to go to shit anyway.
And not to mention the fallout of millions of people dying on his watch. That's not going to bode well either.
Yeah. And I think this is going to go higher than 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to go way. I think it's going to go much higher than that. How do you answer those questions? You know, and all he's doing is thinking about how can I make myself look good politically. He's not thinking about how do I save human lives, because if he did, he wouldn't care if what he did put him in bad favor with some people. He would just care that it saved lives. Yes, Charlie.
But to his defense, neither are a lot of other Republicans.
Well, yes, of course. Yes, Charlie.
Well, we had 9 congressional hearings over Benghazi where 4 people died.
Yeah.
We got 73,000 people dead now.
And I don't think we've had one hearing, have we?
Nope.
This Trump's fault?
What? Yes, it is.
I don't think so.
It's on his watch, Phil.
It doesn't matter. It could have.
Wasn't Hillary.
Believe me, if it happened on Obama's watch,
it's PR fault that they Pearl Harbor.
Phil, are you forgetting the Obama plan that was in place that once Trump got in, he pushed aside and said we don't need this, and he got rid of the task force?
Expand on that?
Good.
You know, it was Bolton when he took over the NSA that said that program should be handled by another part of that of his deal. So it never went away. It just changed the group. So
where was that being handled then?
Who's handling it?
Bolton obviously.
Who's handling it? What department is that? What department is that now?
Well, who put him in charge? Bottom line, the buck stops at that desk in the Oval Office.
Well, let me.
Sorry.
There's no sorry. I mean, if you get attacked, like we have been attacked by a virus, he's done what he needs to do and more to help the states overcome these problems.
Yes, Brian.
And help the states, but they're he's going to blame the governors. If everything starts ramping back up, they say like 19 states are still trending up, but then most of the country is starting to reopen. He
was told by the governors that it wasn't up to him to open or not open, that it's up to him to get masks and ventilators to the states, but it's up to the governors as to whether they're going to do it. Don't you remember him getting his hand slapped when he said he could open up those things or close them down?
But why do we need a president then?
Well, because he does other stuff. He's on a different level.
Well, what can you say about a president whose idea of running this country is the dog ate my homework?
That's not what he said. You know, fake news, Bennett.
Yes, that is what he said, Phil, by measure.
Did anybody read The Prince by Machiavelli?
Oh.
Did you have to read that in college? Because it's like textbook Trump. The facts that all you have to do is just look at numbers, and look at realities. What I find, if it weren't so tragic, it would be funny that they were thinking of closing down the White House task force on coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they're
bringing it back.
There were other people that were going to handle it, and I guess he the next day he decided that he wasn't going to do that yet
because it's popular.
Because it wasn't.
I think they can. I think he could close it tomorrow because, after all, it's been perfect. Textbook. It's so great. Successful.
Smartest
perfect,
in the room.
Successful job that the federal government has done. So, why not close it down? Why keep it running?
No, the rest of the country.
And like a miracle, this has all gone away.
The rest of the country's done just fine. It's New York that is all.
No, that's Nebraska and Wisconsin.
Phil, there are some states right now are seeing the largest raise in cases that they've seen in this entire thing.
4 cases and it went to 8. You had 100%.
No, that isn't the case, Phil. It's more than that.
Yeah, it went from 800 to 1,200 in Texas a day.
Yeah, well, they get 800 deaths.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. How many, Charlie, in one day?
1,200 cases, new cases of COVID a day, which is the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Texas is ramping up big time.
Yeah, you can't see that. But that's the one that Charlie's just saying. Yeah, going up. Texas is still going up. There are 19 states seeing an upward trend in new cases, but the majority of the country is reopening.
Yeah.
So 19 states still going up.
And it's in those states, by the way, that are reopening that they've been going up.
It's a good thing nobody travels between states or anything.
New York.
Gosh, imagine that happened.
New York went up today to 234, I think, from 230. But we had been up around 700, 800 at one point. Deaths a day. So we haven't
even hit 1,000 deaths so far in Texas. It's only like 970 for the whole 2 months.
Yeah. But you watch. You're going to see a devastation happening because people are opening up. And it's not that they're opening up, but too many people are taking it as a chance to go to the beach and hang out with each other and play volleyball.
I saw photos released in that Jacksonville, Florida beach, and it turns out that some of the photos showing people not distancing were actually shot 2 years ago. And
where did you hear that? Where did you hear that, Phil? That's not what I heard.
Well, listen to real news.
Where can I find my real news,
You mean
Phil?
the news that played down the COVID virus for how long? Is that the news you listen to?
Not necessarily.
The one with Sean Hannity, who said it was all a blue hoax.
All I know is the videos
Robert,
that were coming out of
that's what it is.
That were coming out of, I believe, out of southern Florida, were just a couple of weeks ago. They were an old video, Phil. They were college students on spring break this year.
You're talking about Miami Beach before the lockdown. I'm talking about the beaches in Jacksonville, Florida, which is the northern part of Florida, were closed down, And then when they opened them up, they had all these pictures of people not social distancing and things like that. And it turns out that those pictures were.
Where did you hear that those pictures were from 2 years ago?
Well, I listen to Fox, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
I guess. Or maybe it was maybe. Do you watch Newsmax, Phil?
No. But you listen
do you
to
watch?
MSNBC?
Do you watch America One?
No, I don't get it.
Oh, I thought you did, Phil, because you were the one who tried to turn me on to America One.
I used to get it, and it was called OANN.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
One America Network.
You know, Donald Trump Jr. is buying into that.
It's a good idea.
Oh yeah, because we know what's going to happen with Donald Trump if he doesn't win. He's going to be on over there doing a talk show every day.
No, he's not. He's not leaving the White House. I'm telling you, November comes. If we're fucked either way, Democrat wins, he is going to cry that the entire election was fixed. He's going to destroy everything that's left about this country, and he's not going to leave quietly. If he wins, we're fucked either way. So come November, we're just fucked.
Yeah.
That's what we got coming for Election Day.
You're saying he's pulling a Maduro, like a guy in Venezuela?
Guy's not going to leave. He's Phil. He was calling the election fixed until he got elected.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the one saving grace that maybe he won't destroy our electoral
That was
system.
the only time he was right. The election was fixed.
He was already saying the fix is in at his rallies. The fix is in. Then he wins. Maybe the fix was in.
Well, comrade, I don't know.
Unbelievable.
Are you following the faithless electors case at the Supreme Court?
No.
Where the toilet flushed?
Well, yeah, that one was interesting. But they have a case now whether or not faithless electors are allowed to vote their own will, or whether they are required by law to vote with the popular state vote.
I thought after the first round they were allowed to vote with their own will. So if it went to a brokered convention after the first round, then they were allowed to vote some other way, right?
Well, but we haven't heard word one tonight from Jeff. Nothing.
That's good. Nothing. I'll tell you what I know. I hear a lot of people who have no idea what's going on. They don't want to know what's going on. They want to be in La La Land.
What do you mean they don't know what's going on? You mean about the coronavirus?
Yes. That they could die.
Did you hear that homeless people?
And then a lot of people just think, it's not us. It's them, whatever that means. It's old people who are dying, not middle-aged kids.
Jeff, did you hear?
Called third-person perception or third-person effect.
Okay, wait a minute. Phil wanted to ask a question of Jeff.
Yeah. Did you hear the interviews that down in L.A., some newscasters went and started talking to some of the homeless people and asked them if they had heard of the coronavirus and so forth. Most of them had no idea that it was going on, at least the ones that they interviewed. And it was surprising to me, because they don't have TVs. They don't.
Yeah, how would they know? They don't have TVs or radio.
Yeah, they don't have access to the same kind of media that we do, and they really didn't know what it was or what was happening. And that was to support what you were saying, that people didn't know.
I think our 1 to 6 cleansing of the subway, or 1 to 5 cleansing of the subway every night started tonight, I believe. And what they're going to do with the homeless, because they have to push them out of those cars they've been sleeping in, is they are going to have accommodations for them if they want to use them.
Yeah, moving them to Harlem?
Probably, but they're starting I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, how many cars do they have to clean every night? It's an incredible amount,
Do you think people are going to be using a lot of the cars in the beginning, or they'll be able to have a more limited service?
I wouldn't use them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't try them. I wouldn't try them.
I don't fly anywhere.
Huh? What?
I don't want to fly anywhere.
I think there's a lot less people getting on that system.
Yeah.
Then we're doing
ridership is down by 90%
several
or
months
something
ago.
like that. You know,
What
I mean,
percentage is
I mean,
it?
there's some people who absolutely have to use it. I mean, the reason he wants to keep it clean is for the workers that go to hospitals. They have to use the subways to get there in many cases. The police, a lot of people have to go to work using the subways. It was the way to, I mean, what are you going to do? Take a cab? You know. So they're going to, but for policemen and hospital workers and so on, during that period of 1 to 5 in the morning or whenever that time period is, they're supplying them actually with Ubers and Lyfts and everything so they can get to their job.
So
I thought they worked out special parking for healthcare workers in New York City, allowing them to park on the street outside of hospitals.
Yeah, but
with
a lot of
permits.
those healthcare workers don't have cars.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Did the doctors still have MD plates in New York? I knew this guy. He was an MD, and he would park in the middle of Fifth Avenue and just leave his car there, and nobody bother him because he had special MD plates. I don't know if they still have that. I've never seen it in California.
Brian?
Apologies to any Muslim viewers today.
Brian?
Cuomo said like 50 years is old now. What the heck?
50 years is old. Yeah, he said, I hate to hear that, but 50 years is old.
Yeah. What is he, 39?
No, he's
66, I think.
He's 66, something like that. He's
60. I think he's 66.
Boy, I wish he's going to look better 5 days dead than I look right now. You know, I mean, he's a good-looking guy, and he has. You know, I was telling Ronnie this yesterday. I feel so good that I live in a state where that guy is the governor. Okay.
You're talking about Cuomo. I thought you were talking about your governor, your mayor.
Oh, no, forget de Blasio. He's a piece of shit.
You'd be amazed.
Cuomo was our mayor, our governor.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed. A lot of people, California, a lot of my friends listen to Cuomo every morning.
Well, Cuomo's got a big audience.
Cuomo makes you feel like it's almost like having chamomile tea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You sit and listen to him, and he has a way of, it's relaxing. You know, you feel like, you know what, things are not good, but
he never lies.
There's a way out of it.
He never lies.
You'll get the same feeling watching Wheel of Fortune at 7 o'clock. Okay?
I don't.
It's no different.
Phil, quit.
Apologies to our Muslim viewers.
Quit trying to hypnotize us. We're never going to think Trump is
drink
great.
on camera. That's actually illegal in some countries right now.
Hey, that's theme music, as you may know, and it's been another one of those evenings of deeply ensconced in the virus. There isn't there's little else to talk about. You want to talk about the Democratic nomination? We could get to that. Doesn't really matter, you know. We're all dead. Anyway.
New York primary's back on.
It's back on?
Yeah.
Okay. But by write-in ballot. Yeah. But hey, Brian, thank you so much, and Phil, thank you so much, and Rob, I'm glad you got your audio working okay. Jeff, I'm glad you got your audio working okay. You actually said something. Charlie, great hearing from you, and Bree, call more often. We haven't heard from you in a while.
Bree was great tonight.
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube chats. That's where the real.
Anyway, that's it. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and we will wave right back at you. Okay? All right. Bye-bye. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. There'll be another citizen panel being assembled by Jack Bishop next over most of this same GABNet. So just, stay tuned for them next over most of the same station. I'm Alex Bennett. We'll see you tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.